Good day, first years. I am Carmenita Benson and I am an English lecturer here at the Northwest University. And today I'm going to speak to you about how to deal with grievances. So what is a grievance? This is when you feel like you have cause for complaint, or if you feel that you have been treated wrongly or unfairly. So that is when you have a grievance. So my question to you is, what would you do if you experience a problem? Okay, so hopefully you're not going to do that. Instead, I would advise the following. It is advisable that you write a formal complaint or inquiry to your lecturer, and after you've done this, please be patient. Remember that your lecturer services other students as well, and they also have teaching and research responsibilities. So it may take some time for them to respond to your email. Thereafter, if you feel that your query hasn't been dealt with or you're not satisfied with how the complaint was dealt with, you can then get into contact with the subject chairperson, and I'll make these details available to you later. Okay, what you do not want to do, ladies and gentlemen, is ask a parent or guardian to send emails or to phone your lecturer. The reason for this is because we expect you to be an independent learner. We expect you to take ownership of your own studies. But there may come a time where you cannot reach out to your lecturer and you need a parent to do so, then you can. But please try and make contact with your lecturers by yourself. Okay. Then also do not gossip about your peers or your lecturers. This is unprofessional and immature, and you shouldn't do it. Then also do not resort to insults, right? Then also do not complain to the dean. Now, of course, you can complain to the dean, but you can only do this after following the correct channels. So you need to start with your lecturer, and if you're not satisfied, you move up the chain of complaints, but I'll explain that to you later. Okay, so did you know that most of your issues can be resolved by or with your lecturer? Your complaint or issue is resolved faster when you take it up with your lecturer. So let's say you decide to complain directly to the dean. The dean will then have to get into contact with the deputy dean, and then the deputy dean will have to make contact with the director has to make contact with the subject chairperson, and that subject chairperson will then make contact with the lecturer. So obviously, your complaint would have been dealt with a lot faster if you had just made contact with the lecturer. So please refrain from complaining directly to the dean. Okay. Then you should also know that each faculty has a student representative. Now during this orientation process, the representative will make themselves known to you, so you'll know who your class representative is. You are also expected to be responsible and respectful, especially when you are sending emails. And remember that lecturers are here to serve you. It is our job to teach you and to have you develop into a good teacher, so we are here to serve you. So you can come to us with your complaints. Okay, so now I want to explain the grievance procedure for the education faculty. So step 1, you need to consult with your lecturer. Like I said, if you feel that this has not been dealt with adequately, you can then take your grievance to the subject chairperson. Okay, if that grievance hasn't been resolved, the subject chairperson will then make contact with the school's director. If it needs to go further, which I doubt that it would need to, then it will go to the deputy dean and eventually the dean. Okay, and then the Northwest University also has an idea of what the grievance procedures should look like, which you can find on this link. There you'll see that you can either speak to your class representative. If you are not confident enough to speak to the lecturer by yourself, then your class representative can support you with this. And then I really want to speak to you about how to write an email to your lecturer. You are expected to be professional and to write an email in a formal manner. Try not to send emails after hours. Do not say hi. Also, try to always address your lecturer by their title. So it is either Miss, Mrs., Mr., Doctor, or Professor. Remember that your lecturers have worked very hard to earn these titles, so you need to be respectful. Another good idea is to see how the lecturer would want you to address them. You'll usually see this at the end of an email that the lecturer sends or at the end of an announcement. So that's a good cue to take of how the lecturer would like to be addressed. Okay, so that's just a suggestion. You'll always say, "Dear Ms. Benson," or "Doctor," whoever, "Professor," whoever. "I trust this email finds you well. I'm writing to bring the following matter to your attention." So you do this in a professional and respectful manner. It's also a good idea to end your email with your student number. Okay, on the following 3 slides, I just have the subject chairs for the different subjects. So I'm not going to go through this list. I'm just going to leave the slide on for a few minutes so that you can see who the subject chairperson is. It's a good idea to look at what your major subjects is and look at who the subject chair is for that major, and perhaps just write down their name so that you at least know who the contact person for that is. Okay, and then our campus Deputy Dean for Teaching and Learning is Professor Herman van Vieren, and our Dean is Professor Lloyd Conley. Okay, finally, I'd just like to say that we do not want to discourage you from complaining. In fact, we encourage this because it can allow our faculty to grow and improve. But just remember that if you have a complaint, to do so the proper way and to do so respectfully. Thank you.